Liberal support for Hamas in America should come as no surprise. They've infiltrated America through our universities and other organizations, and now many in our own government are peddling their propaganda in a show of support for the terrorist organization. Let's bring in Victor Davis Hanson, Hoover Institution Senior Fellow and author of Dying Citizen. Victor, am I being too judgmental by saying support for Gaza, Palestinians is actual trickle-down support for Hamas?
I don't think so. I mean, these demonstrations, Eric, started on the first news of the October 7 massacres, but before the IDF replied. So when they went out to these free speech areas and yards and various campuses and were shouting from the river to the sea on news of beheadings and massacres and mutilations, they didn't have anything to protest against Israel. Israel hadn't responded yet. So it was pro-Hamas all the way.
Victor, does it seem to you, I mean, you're a smart guy. I mean, I wouldn't call you a right or a left. I think you're case by case. It seems to me that this growing anti-Semitism, this growing support for Hamas or Gaza is because of the conservative support for Israel. Does that play a factor at all?
It does. But it also channels into the DEI industry, and that is Israel is seen as a privileged Western interloper. And it's also, let's be frank, the DEI has no longer diversity, equity, inclusion. It's, as we saw, it's anti-white privilege, anti-white rage, anti-white supremacy. And they've created this construct that people who are so-called marginalized are permanent victims, and their oppressors are people that
Victor,
are supposedly
fascinating?
white.
I don't want to interrupt the smartest guy in the room right now, but you know what's fascinating to me? For years, my wife is Jewish, her family's Jewish, I worked on Wall Street. For years, to a T, Jews that vote Democrat would say, and they're the vast majority of them vote Democrat, would say, well, Jews, they identify with being oppressed, with being the victim, with being, looked at that way. And so they felt the Democrat Party was a more victor or champion of that. But now all of a sudden it's turning on Jews, where all of a sudden the state of Israel is now the, I don't know, white privileged? Is that how this is working out for them?
It is. They helped, along with the left, liberal Jews and the left in general, created a Frankenstein monster. They were Dr. Frankenstein. They created this monster, and it never thought it would turn on them. But it is turning on them because it's a racist, segregationist, chauvinistic, tribal movement that woke DEI, and they despise Israel because it's humane, it's liberal, it's Western, it's successful, it's secure, it's free, and it's prosperous. And they don't make any exceptions for that. And then we have a problem with the DEI. We go all the way back to Al Sharpton and Freddie's Market and Tawana Brawley, and we go into Jesse Jackson and Hymietown. We go to Farrakhan. We go to the BLM glider posters they're having. We look at the DEI Congress people who voted against the resolution to condemn anti-Semitism or to condemn Hamas. And there's something in this squad DEI movement that really despises Israel in general. And we know that each member of the squad is on record with a lot of anti-Semitic statements. And so I think I think the Jewish population is starting to see now that DEI and woke was never liberal. It was never empirical. It was never inductive. It was a deductive, tribal, segregationist, chauvinist, racist movement, and they are the targets now. And there's no ambiguity about it. They're happy about it. The left is. They attack Jews. Where I teach at I work at Stanford at the Hoover Institution. A professor segregated the Jewish students from the rest of the class, said, don't bring your property with you. They had a poster the day after the massacre that Israel is dust. It wasn't about what Israel did. It was about what Israel is, who Israelis are, who Jews are.
Somehow Israel became exactly what they were voting, the Jews in Israel were voting against and voting for Democrats rather than what they felt was some sort of, I don't know, master versus slave, power versus subordinate. They felt they were on this and they were protecting this, and they would vote to protect this, and then all of a sudden they became this. And now they're the ones that are being frowned on. And the final thought, and the Gaza and the Palestinians are the victims. Go ahead.
And last word, remember, this wasn't just an incursion. This was a pre-civilizational, almost satanic mutilation, necrophilia, beheading, baking. Every unimaginable pre-civilizational act was committed against Jews for the very reason they were Jews. And I think that the extremism and the savagery, it's like Dante's Inferno. And that has left a searing impression on every Jew in the United States, because they understand what Hamas is about. It's an existential hatred. And their spokesman in Lebanon just the other day admitted that the agenda remains the destruction of Israel.
Do it again. Do it again. He said October 7th, do it again and again.